This presentation is on biodiversity laws and the causes of it, and also a possible solution that could be implemented in order to try and maintain or slow down the issue of the loss of biodiversity in the world. Before we take a look at the possible solution for trying to maintain biodiversity laws, we have to look at what causes biodiversity loss in the first place. And there are 8 main causes for the loss of biodiversity in the world. The first cause for biodiversity loss would be invasive species, which is an organism that is not native to the area it is in. The second cause of biodiversity loss is overexploitation, which is harvesting resources to the point of almost no return. An example of this would be overfishing. The third cause of biodiversity loss is pollution. The fourth cause of biodiversity loss is global climate change. The fifth cause of biodiversity loss is illegal wildlife trade. The sixth cause of biodiversity loss is species extinction. The seventh and eighth cause of biodiversity loss are probably the 2 biggest causes for it, and they probably go the most hand in hand with each other. So the seventh cause of biodiversity loss is habitat loss. The eighth cause of biodiversity loss is population growth. So now we got to go and take a look at a possible solution that could be implemented to try and maintain the issue of the loss of biodiversity. So a big part of trying to find a solution was not only finding one that could slow down the loss of biodiversity, but also find a way for human in nature to live properly and cohesively. So for the solution, we want to start in places that have big populations and a lot of infrastructure, like Los Angeles and New York. So after going to places like Los Angeles and New York, the first part of the plan would be to go around and find old abandoned buildings that are no longer being used, like the one you see here in the picture, and tear them down completely and clear all the land that the buildings were on. So after tearing down the old buildings that weren't being used, the final part of the plan would then be to create these dome-like entities, as you see in the picture before you. And by doing this, we can then introduce different types of plants and organisms to create our own little ecosystem. And by doing this, it allows us to find a way for humans and nature to live cohesively and cooperatively. And therefore, that was a main thing about the solution. There's also a big thing about the solution was to find a way of just trying to slow down the issue of biodiversity loss instead of just trying to outright solve it. So by doing this, we can start like big places like Los Angeles, New York, and then eventually make our way around the rest of the U.S. and then eventually the world.